Hello everyone and welcome to episode 1 of the Switch It podcast, a series where myself and Bailey discuss everything football. Let's go to tonight's game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Bailey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so tonight's game is definitely going to be one to look out for. It's the main match of the evening across all leagues, really. So it's the EFL Cup Semi final between Tottenham and Liverpool. Kickoffs at 8 p.m. And the last time that these two teams met was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium not that long ago on the 22nd of December, where Liverpool emphatically won 6-3 in a thriller, where you saw Mo Salah. He really was the man who stood out in that game. In my opinion, this game's definitely going to be one where Liverpool should capitalise on a really weak Tottenham team with the injuries that they've got at the moment. And the ability that they showed a really good goal scoring ability in the fact that they scored 6 goals in the last game. What do you think about that, Harry?
Yeah, I think there'll be goals. I think is Liverpool will definitely score. I think we'll either win comfortably 2 or 3-0. Or it could be 3-3, 6-3. But I just think, Tottenham's defence is, they're playing midfielders, fullbacks at the back. It's just really disjointed.
Yeah, especially with the likes of Porro as a makeshift centre-back at the moment. I know Tottenham won't be wanting to play that as well at the minute with the likes of playing Jed Spence as well. He's actually been a great standing right back at the moment for Tottenham.
Yeah, Jed Spence played centre back for the second half against Newcastle. I think they had Dragosine. Obviously, had something up with him in the first half against Newcastle, and then they changed it second half for half time.
Yeah,
and they played Spence and Gray at the back, Regular on left back, Porro on the right, and you know what? They actually looked really good defensively in that second half with Spence at the back, and they could do the same tonight.
Yeah.
But I do believe Dragoshine's fit, and it may be a good idea playing that one and only centre back.
Yeah, he's going to be critical if he ends up playing for Tottenham tonight. He's going to have to put a shift in. But away from that, it's impossible to ignore the quality that Jed Spence is going to come up against in the quality of Mo Salah. He's had a goal contribution in every game that he's played in since the end of November, where he played 90 minutes against Real Madrid, but he didn't contribute towards any of the goals that Liverpool scored in that win. This is going to be the second game of the Carabao Cup campaign, with Liverpool's Carabao Cup campaign, that he's going to play, as he was rested in the previous round against Southampton. But he's likely to start again tonight, given that Liverpool have an easy game at the weekend against Accrington Stanley, and he'll be rested in that game ahead of Forest in the Premier League on the Tuesday after that.
I completely agree, and I think that one of the main reasons for Salah getting so many contributions is he plays every single minute for us, and I think that could be down to his fitness. And because if you notice in our games I don't know if Liverpool fans get annoyed by this, but Salah doesn't press as much as the rest of the team.
No.
But say for example we go on a counter attack, he's the one
who's
always the fastest and most energy. But yeah, I 100% think he'll start tonight. I think we'll go strong.
He's definitely in the mix with the goals as well, with 21 goals and 17 assists in all of his competitions this season. That's
this could be one of his best seasons for Liverpool.
Definitely.
If he carries on the way he's going, then it probably will be.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think that our lineup's quite easy to predict tonight, because I think we'll go strong. I think we'll go similar to the United game.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It's just a few positions where, whether Szoboszlai will come in, whether he's still ill, or
He likes a
Jones will
Connor Bradley might make an appearance tonight as well, especially with the performance
Yeah.
that Trent displayed at the weekend.
Yeah.
Slot might give him his chance. Obviously, Kelleher.
Yeah.
This is Kelleher's competition, so he'll be switched out for Allison in net.
Yeah.
And then
I agree with that one.
other than there, you'd like to see potentially Darwin Núñez get the nod up front because obviously he's going to be suspended against Forest on Tuesday. So it'd be interesting to see who starts in the striker position.
Yeah, no, I think it's quite obvious he'll play. I think Kelleher will play Trent, Canate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, Salah and Gakpo. I think they'll all play. I think I'm just wondering if Szoboszlai's back or whether his illness.
Yeah, well, the latest that we've heard from Liverpool's training, the latest we've heard from the training ground themselves is that he's going to be a doubt to start, as he's only trained yesterday with the first team. Now, whether that means that he's back to full fitness by the time tonight's game takes place, we never know. It's Slot who makes the final call. But right up to now, he is a doubt to start, but he could end up being included on the bench. So it'd be interesting to see that one.
Yeah, I mean, Jones could play again after the United game, but he wasn't as influential as he has been for the majority of the season.
No.
Could we see Elliott make an appearance? But
potentially.
I don't think he's played enough to start a game like this.
I think for me as well, I think we should discuss the importance of Alexis McAllister because he was unbelievable against Manchester United, even though it was just
I agree.
Even though it was a pretty bang average performance against our local rivals up north. I mean, he was definitely the standout in midfield in that game.
I mean, I completely agree.
And he showed a lot of composure and strength in that midfield, and I'd like to see him be involved again in the midfield today.
I think he's a massive part of our midfield alongside Gravenberch. I think he goes under the radar a lot. I think he was very good last season when he had to play in the holding role. I think because of a lot of his work is done off the ball and people don't really see the work of, like DMs as much as a striker. But I think he's very underrated.
Yeah, definitely.
The only position that I think is most up for grabs tonight is who's going to start. I think Jota could play, Diaz could play, Núñez could play.
Yeah, but, that goes down to the embarrassment of riches as well that we've got up front. Our attacking depth in terms of players is quite. It's up there with one of the best in the league, and that shows with Liverpool's position in the Premier League at the moment. And it's hard to predict every game who's going to be starting up front, but I'm going for Salah, Núñez, and Gakpo today. And on that, Gakpo has been in incredible form in the EFL Cup recently, and he's appeared in all three of the games that Liverpool have played in the Carabao Cup this season, and he's contributed quite well with 4 goals and an assist. He's definitely a player to look out for in this game. And do you not think he's improved massively under Slot?
Núñez?
No, Gakpo.
Gakpo, yeah, I do, and I think it's down to the minutes, because under Klopp last season he was, he'd play centre forward, left wing, he'd play different positions. I think he even played in the midfield at the start of last season when we didn't have, many midfielders fit.
Yeah.
So last season he was wasn't getting the minutes. He was sort of in and out of the squads, and I think the start of this season, after his World Cup, his good World Cup, he still wasn't really at it, but he's sort of now getting there because he's getting the minutes.
Yeah, and
I think Slot
as well as that, he's getting the minutes in the position that he wants to play as well, because you've seen in a lot of Liverpool's best performances, the front three have been Cody Gakpo on the left, and Diaz has been in the centre forward position with Salah on the right, obviously, and Gakpo was brilliant for the Netherlands on the left wing, and he's showing that again for Liverpool. And I'd just like to go back actually to one of the best goals I remember about Cody Gakpo, and that's when we played Manchester United in the 7-0, and he cut in off the wing and he slotted it into the bottom right corner. But that was one of many goals where he's made that trademark cut in, and he's dropped his shoulder, and then he's ended up firing a shot to the top, to either the bottom or top right corner of the goal. And you've seen that multiple times for Cody Gakpo in a Liverpool shirt this season, and I think that is showing. He's showing better goal scoring form up front than Luis Diaz on the left wing, definitely.
Yeah, when I watch the games, he makes it look a lot easier than it is. When he cuts in off the right, he seems to gain that yard. He's very good at dropping the shoulder. There is something that I'd like to talk about though, with Gakpo and Diaz, because it seems that Diaz can he can miss out on a game, to that Nunes play or minutes to other players, but he can still come in and still be in really good form during the season without getting, the running games that Gakpo's getting at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, definitely he gets a place in my starting lineup tonight. So I've gone for Liverpool. I've gone for Kelleher to start in goal. I have put Trent Alexander-Arnold in the starting lineup because I do think that Liverpool are going to go as strong as possible tonight. And then the standard Kanate, Van Dijk and Robertson to make up the back line. Then the midfield is unchanged from the Man United game, so I've gone for Gravenberch, McAllister and Curtis Jones. And then up front I've changed Diaz for Darwin Núñez. But then Cody Gakpo and Mo Salah on each wing. I think in terms of depth, I think that is a really good starting lineup for Liverpool, and from a fan point of view, there's nowhere really where we could go wrong tonight if we put in the right performance.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the complete same. I've gone for Kelleher in goal because it's his competition, and I think we will switch to our third on the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I think Yaros is going to be involved against Atkinson.
I do have Trent. Like you, I do agree though. I think Bradley could get minutes. I think he could also come in and play well. But I do think it's Slot's decision. I think he will go for Trent.
Yeah, definitely.
I have Kanate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch and McAllister. I think they're nailed on tonight. I've got Curtis Jones in midfield as the 10. But I do think Szoboszlai, if he was, fit tonight, I do think he'd come in.
Oh yeah,
but I don't think
I think he'll be the first person to be promoted to the starting lineup if he's definitely there and available.
Yeah, and then nailed on the wings, I've got Gakpo and Salah. I was struggling up front because I have Jota /Diaz /Núñez. I mean, I think the other two are more likely to start than Jota.
Definitely.
I've just edged Núñez though because he is suspended next week.
Yeah.
And Diaz can still come off the bench and be an impact player.
Yeah. Let's move on then and talk. Let's move on and talk about some of the players that might make the Liverpool bench tonight, but would like to see make an appearance. And I've gone for Harvey Elliott in particular, and I think he's been unlucky.
Yeah, I agree.
He's been unlucky really this season with the amount of squad depth that we've come all of a sudden, and it comes to a bit of a surprise to Liverpool fans because obviously last season in this competition in particular, we ended up playing the final with half the team as Klopp's kids, as they called it, where we won in the last minute of the game, courtesy of a Van Dijk header from a Tsimikas corner. And another player I think I'd like to see as well, if he's fully fit and available, is Chiesa, because I think Liverpool fans are starting to get a bit frustrated with him in particular because he seems to just be never available and he's always injury prone. Then obviously Diogo Jota, he's a great impact off the bench. He's really calm and composed when it comes to goal scoring ability. And then given chances to your likes of Joel Quansah or Endo, James McConnell maybe from the academy. It just depends what Slot decides to do tonight, because he will be thinking ahead and thinking, right, well, the players who don't get a chance tonight are definitely going to end up making an appearance against Accrington Stanley next week on Saturday in the Cup. So, it's hard to call really, but
Yeah.
I do believe that this is going to be treated as a tricky game for Liverpool, and that we're going to go as strong as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to talk about Chiesa, because I mean, I remember watching him in that Euros he had where they played England in the final. I think it might have been a semis. Him just cutting in off the left and scoring, but it was brilliant in that Euros. And he was an important player for Juve as well. He can play left, he can play right. And when I saw that we'd signed him for less than 20-25 million, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I just think he's a unique player that would, he could be great in a Liverpool shirt.
Yeah, it's just we've
but
not
he just
seen
hasn't
enough
had the
of him.
minutes.
Yeah. So let's move on to Tottenham then.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier that Tottenham have currently got quite a bad ongoing injury crisis at the moment.
Yeah.
They've got a list of key players that they're going to be missing, and that's quite ongoing. So I'll start listing them off. So they're missing Ben Davies, Wilson Odobert, Richarlison, Christian Romero, Destiny Udogie, Mickey van der Ven, Vicario in goal, James Maddison, Pap Sarr and Mikey Moore are all definitely big no's, and Ange Postecoglou confirmed in his most recent press conference. Son's going to be likely to be returning to their starting lineup along with Rodrigo Bentancur after Bentancur was suspended due to disciplinary points. I found it strange how Son was benched against Newcastle, because to me he's the standout player for Tottenham, and he should never, especially with this type of injury crisis going on currently, he shouldn't be dropped in a game like that, because that's a must win for Tottenham.
Yeah,
they should be focusing on really sorting themselves out in the league, because I think they're in 10th or 11th position at the moment, and that by their standards is nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, I don't know if you were watching the game, but they were a lot better when Spence went to centre back and Madison and Son came on.
Yeah.
I think they had a lot more control, and Newcastle didn't find it as easy.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, yeah. I think from a Spurs point of view, though, I think they're going to be having to be more defensive minded today for a start, because to have conceded 6 goals in the previous fixture not that long ago was just not good enough for them, and they can't be embarrassed like that again tonight. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they change how they play, or potential personnel change to see how they're going to deal with the quality of Liverpool's personnel.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go on to that. I've got a Spurs predicted 11 from myself. In goal, I've got Austin. Now they have signed a new keeper, Kinski, but I just think Austin was brilliant. At the back, I've got Porro, Dragoshin, Gray, and Spence. I mean, Spence could play at the back. Dragoshin could drop out just because of the way they were against Newcastle. But listen, I mean, I just think playing a midfielder and a right back, both as your centre backs, instead of playing a centre back that you've got, is more risky. DM, I've got Basuma. He didn't start. He came on with Maddison and Son, I believe, against Newcastle. And maybe more of that control was down to him. And obviously, Pap Sarr doesn't look like he's going to be available. I think he's poor. I just think Liverpool will play better and be more resolute than they were against United. So I'm going to go with 3-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I just think Spurs will get 1 goal at home. They have good forwards, but I think we'll be good defensively. I think only conceding 1 goal to a good Spurs attack is a good result.
Yeah.
And I definitely think we'll score more than 1. So I'll go with 3-1. I'll go with 3-1.
Yeah. So yeah, that's both of our score predictions for this fixture. Let's just go over really quickly over last night's fixture where Newcastle, against all odds, ended up getting a 2-0 win over Arsenal.
Wow, what a game. Beautiful to watch.
Newcastle are going after their first piece of major silverware since 1968 when they won the City's Fair Cup, which we've never heard of. That's how long it's been. So they're looking to create some history in their record books. The man in form to talk about for Newcastle is their big man up front, Alexander Isak. Let's talk about him for a moment. He's been outstanding, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about Isak as well. How 10 minutes before that, Martinelli hit the post in a 1-on-1. Would Isak have scored that? Is that what Arsenal needs? But no, let's just go over his performance. I mean, how good is he at bringing the ball down? I mean, with strikers, it's either they're really good at bringing the ball down. They play just behind the wingers as a centre forward, and that their game plans like a Joshua Zirkzee, brilliant at building the pressing, building the play. But one of the reasons why everyone's talking about him is why he's so good is because he can do both. He can hold the ball up, bring players in play, but when you need him to score in the box, he can. And that's what he did in the 30th minute.
And their first goal came out of nowhere, really, as well. It came from a Dubravka free kick into the Arsenal box from the halfway line, and it was just a loose bit of defending, really, from Arsenal, and Newcastle broke straight through, and Isak was there to put the ball in the back of the net, and especially with the other goal as well in the second half, where Gordon ended up finishing off. That came off Alexander Isak's shot, which was rebounded into the direction of Gordon, who ended up finishing off that goal as well. But Newcastle are always going to be up for this fixture because they'll go after this silverware. They're not going to win the Premier League. And so their best 2 shots at any type of domestic silverware is the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. So it's interesting to see, especially with the second leg at St James's Park. Is there any way back for Arsenal? It's going to be hard to see, really, because they're going to have to win by a 3-0 deficit or get 2 goals back and then win on pens. So it's hard to call, really. But I think that's all that needs to be said, really, about that game, really.
Yeah, I mean, there is one more thing. What do you think Newcastle will do? Because if they go into the game and their plan is, to put everyone behind the ball, and then Arsenal are dominant for 20 minutes and they score, in the first half, they're going to be right for it.
Yeah.
So how do you think Newcastle should go about the game?
I think they need to go about it exactly how they went about this game. They went there with nothing to lose to start it off. They played a really great game. At both offensive and defensive play was top class. I think they're going to have a massive boost as well because in that second leg they're going to have the availability of Bruno Guimaraes, and
they'll be even stronger.
He's a really important man in their midfield, but Sandro Tonali definitely filled in his boots last night, and it was an outstanding performance from him in particular.
I mean what they did was, so Tonali went into Bruno's position, and then Joelinton and Willock played as midfielders. Central midfield.
So let's finish it up there. Let's finish with a final 2 in this competition prediction. I'm going to be calling it as Liverpool versus Newcastle in the final. Who are you going for?
I want to go different, but I completely agree. I mean, you know what? I mean, I'll go different. I'll go Liverpool Arsenal in the final. It's going to be Newcastle, but I'll go different. And if Arsenal surprise us, then I'm winning.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in to our Switch It podcast series. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get updated on our next episode, which is coming very soon. Thank you to everyone who was listening in. Let's hope the Reds win tonight.